Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Tran and I are finally starting our top 10, our 10 for 10 series, whatever you want to call it. We're going to break everything down. This is actually going to be a 4-part series. I want to give a shout out to Rage Cactus for the idea, our good friend Rage Cactus, who chimed in during the breakout video and said, hey, you and Tran should do your own list. And we said, you know what? The people ask, we give the people what they want, right? And so we're actually going to have our own individual list. We will, over the 4 parts of this video series leading to our game on September 12th against UTEP, we'll have players 10 through 1, Team Steve versus Team Tran. It's going to be a very fun exercise, hopefully a little banter, so appreciate the ideas that have come through. Tran, before I get to you, I do, on a serious note, we do have a fundraiser going on for the community of Lake Charles, which is led by Wade LeBlanc, who is a pitcher of the Baltimore Orioles and is a good friend of Tyler Dixon, who has been on this channel a few times. Those of you who have seen Billy, he represents LSU, Tyler represents Alabama, but their hometown is Lake Charles, and it was decimated by Hurricane Laura. A lot of damages there. A lot of people who are seeking shelter without power. So there is a GoFundMe being led by Wade and Tyler and some of the guys in the Lake Charles community who are just trying to get the message out there. Guys like Alex Bregman have been sharing this on social media. So we are going to do our part to help them out and drive that. So if you're here and you have something to give in your heart, please hit the link below. We'll have that in the description box. I'll continue to promote that on all 4 videos. But getting to the 10 for 10 series, our top 10 players. Tran, from a criteria perspective, how did we come about this? We had a lot of conversation.
There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of confusion on my part. I know that. I did, I think, 2 or 3 lists, and all of them kept leading towards, NFL potential. Side note, we found out right beforehand. This is the first time we've all shot together in 6 months, which is crazy to me.
So let's give a quick shout out to Matthew, who is back with us. We haven't seen him since our last top 10 video to finish the 2019 season. So Matthew, welcome back.
Yeah, looking older and wiser.
Older and wiser. He's got the grown man haircut now. It's all sorts of stuff going on, man. But we're back together on camera. I feel like because we've been talking to each other, it's like that whole dynamic's been gone. But this is cool.
Yeah, but back to the actual criteria. So the criteria, simply put, is just who do we think is the best player that we're going to be yielding on the field every single week, starting from week 1. So that's essentially what we broke it down to.
All right. So what we'll do is I'll start and we'll go. We'll start with number 10. So I'll give my number 10 player. Trent will give his number 10 player. There's going to be an overlap with players because, and you guys, as you're providing your list, you're going to have, many of us, at least I hope, should have many of the same names on our list of who we think our top guys are for 2020. Mm-hmm. But we'll go through. So let's start with Team Steve. Who's number 10? Who's the number 10 player for Team Steve?
Mr.
Demarvant Overshown. So I went with Demarvant Overshown in the 10 spot. This was really difficult for me because right off the bat when I made my list, I didn't have a problem getting 9 players. My issue was between Demarvant Overshown and another player that is coming up here very, very shortly. But I went with Demarvant Overshown because of the upside. You can make a very strong argument that he should have been not only just on the 5 breakout players list, but number 1. Mm-hmm. Right? When you're factoring in the switch of the defense, the switch of the position, what he's going to be asked to do to be that hybrid jack of all trades linebacker in this 4-2-5, 4-3 scheme that Chris Ash is going to be running. Very excited for the potential of Demarvant Overshown. This is a guy who has only really played 5 games last year, had 18 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 3 pass breakups, and forced a fumble. So that is an enormous amount of production in a very, very limited run. But when he was on the field, when he was healthy, because health is paramount with this entire football team and with several people that are on this list, Demarvant Overshown is my number 10 player. I think he's going to be dynamite for us. And he's one of our, you can make the argument, he's probably one of our 5 most important players from a standpoint of what needs to happen for us to be as good as we want to be. And I'm going to go ahead and project that he's going to make that leap his junior year playing the linebacker position.
That's a great pick. So for my number 10, this is the other player that Steven was, even as much as him driving over here, was thinking, hey, maybe I should put him in my list, maybe not. I'm putting him on my list. You can't just go off of statistics alone for this kid. First of all, it's Chris Brown, but
he's a grown ass man.
Yeah, you can just tell from the flex.
Grown ass.
You can tell from the flex.
All y'all saw that picture come out today.
Yeah, but 37 tackles last year. He was probably the star of the defense in the LSU game. He was all over the field. When you have new coaches come in and he's the one name that's being called out constantly, he's extremely important to especially a new defensive coordinator. Plus, with Brandon Jones taking off, the defensive backs need a vocal leader. Caden Stearns is definitely the leader of that group. However, he doesn't come off as the person who's going to get in people's face. This guy does, and this guy looks the part and plays the part. So that's why he's my number 10 and most important player of the 2020 Texas Longhorns.
So I like the Chris Brown pick because he is, before he broke his arm, he was very productive. He's one of our best blitzers, and just explosive tackler, right? To the point where he can generate some fumbles, and as we said before, wreak havoc in the backfield. Now, are we, again, we said this on the breakout video, are we going to be blitzing from Mexico like we were in the old scheme? I don't,
Which may, be better for him if he's...
Exactly. So we'll have to see how that balances out. So I want to go to my next pick.
Number 9?
Number 9. So I'm going to go with Keiondre Coburn in this spot. And I think some people may think that this is pretty low, but it just goes to show the upgrade in talent on this football team and what we have from a potential standpoint. With that being said, another guy who is very, very important and key to the outlook of this entire defense, the anchor of the defense, and from a standpoint of not just being that run stuffer. I think, even in the bowl game and throughout, when we've seen him not just be that run stuffing nose tackle, but also getting his hand on footballs and stripping. But I now get to see him in a 4-man front with a 3 technique next to him, maybe letting him get after the quarterback a little bit, mixing things up, having a little bit of some more stunts where he's not just, staying home with the center and guard, which he's really good at already, right? But the upside with the motor, we saw this happen with Puna Ford and others before him. I think now is the time where his motor can get up there. He has another beast behind him in T'Vondre Sweat, which is another name that kept popping up in the breakout. And you guys submitted some really, really good names, by the way, for the breakout players. But for me, I think Keiondre Coburn, we had him in our top 10, I think, last year, at least at the end of the season. I think he was around 8. So he's hovering around, in a pretty decent spot here. We I think very highly of him. But my number 9 player is Keiondre Coburn for this season.
I love that pick, though. But
who's your 9?
My 9 is Overshown.
So you're going Overshown higher than me.
I am, and I know you stated that it was kind of a negative of the efficiency that he had just in the short amount of time, but I think that's a positive. Especially, I'm saying
negative from the fact that he only played 5 games. I'm not saying
no. I understand that, but the fact of the matter is some players just are playmakers, and I just feel this guy is, especially with the scheme change, with the defensive front causing havoc, like you stated before with Keiondre Coburn. It's going to cause more pressure on the quarterback, which is going to make the quarterback force extra passes, and he's a linebacker who who's a former defensive back, so he knows he can drop into coverage. He's a big body who I think he ran a 4.6 40, so he's a big body who's very fast and cover ground fast. And I mean, he's just going to make plays. He's going to be all over the place for us.
I also see him really helping out, pass game wise, from a standpoint of running backs, tight ends, things of that sort. He gives us a guy where we can really match up really well. And people have thrown around the name Isaiah Simmons. I think we should probably chill on that.
No, we should
for
definitely
a
chill
little
on that.
bit. And I've been one of those people. However, the potential is there, and so for him to make both of our list with such limited snaps, I think is a testament to the brother's talent. I'm gonna go to my number 8, and the people's champion. He's a champion in my heart, and I love Roshan Johnson. He, again, when you talk about who's the MVP last year from a standpoint of selfless act, what does this team need? Roshan not only stepped up to the plate and tried, because we had other guys step up and try to do different things. Gerard Hurd did that previously a year before. David Bendit stepped up and tried to get some snaps at running back, but Roshan excelled. And it just speaks to, he is, when you hear about the inside guys that are there at the practices and observing kind of what's going on and getting just whatever tidbits they can from the coaching staff, he looks like one of the best football players on the team, period. I think with him focusing the entire offseason, especially with no spring and not having to be in the quarterback room, entire offseason just focusing on the running back position. Quarterback thing, he's moved on, he's embraced the technical aspects of the position, because when you hear that he was just being a natural athlete last year, but he really didn't understand the position, that should be scary for the rest of the Big 12 to hear, right? And what he can provide, and to me, this is a different video, but I think the running back room has every right to say we're the best position group on the football team. When you have and that's the thing, competition, iron sharpens iron, right?
Yep. So
you have a Bijan Robinson in the room who is an all-world recruit, and everybody's waiting on him and thinking he's the next face of the program. You don't think Roshan Johnson's aware of that? We have the guy that led this team in touchdowns last year in the room, in Keontae Ingram. He's certainly aware of that because that's his backfield. That was his backfield mate. So I just think that with everything we've seen in the reports we're hearing coming out of camp, the brother's body is up to 227, looks fantastic. Natural athleticism, hard runner, hard-nosed kid. You all could see it on the photo. He's got crazy athleticism as well. And he can catch the football, too, for somebody that was a former quarterback. So I'm excited about Roshan. It's my number 8 player, man.
So that's my number 8 player as well. This is one where we actually overlap. I really do like the fact you touched on it, the 227. A lot of people, especially me, I'm one especially for running backs to be around 215, 220. But his body, when he came in, he was 215 regardless, and he was a quarterback. So he had to actually put on some muscle to handle the pass pro and handle the constant pounding. Instead of shying away from hits, he's got to take some on. And from early reports and everything like that, he hasn't lost a step, which is great. Another thing to touch on is he did play the quarterback position, so he has it in between the years.
Good point.
So he knows
There's
when guards
are going to understand.
He's going to know when to wait for his blocks, when to use his athleticism to explode out, and that's what I think his transition. Aside from him just being a freak athlete, his transition was so smooth. Now he's had 2 full off seasons now, technically, I don't know if we're going to count this as an off season, but he's had a little training camp to actually get down the offense, understand especially the pass pro. It's extremely important, especially on the right side of our line, to help out Sam. This year, and the fact of the matter is, I just think he has so much upside and so much potential as a running back in the Big 12.
So that is going to be the first part of our series. I do want to back up to Demarvant Overshown real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because I talked about in the last video, Jake Smith and looking the part. Nobody looks the part on this football team like Demarvant Overshown when he puts on the pad. So just wanted to throw that out there. And this is the first part of our top 10 players. Team Steve, Team Tran. We're out. See you guys for part 2. Horns always up.
Hit the link.